nsfw, what is the best insult you have ever heard? You're like a pizza cutter. All edge but no point. Definitely not the worst but certainly memorable. Somewhere in this world, a tree is tirelessly producing oxygen for your brain to function. You need to find that tree and apologize to it. Playing in a softball game and someone on our team dropped the ball or something. A large woman in the stands yells out, "Nice try, Butterfingers," without missing a beat. That friend yelled back, "Yeah, I bet you wish you had a few." Still makes me giggle thinking about it. Didn't hear from her the rest of the game. In a bar, my friend, who's very handsome and never has problems getting women, sees a beautiful blonde walking by, calls out to her, "Hey baby, why don't you sit on my face?" And she snaps around and says, "Why? Is your nose bigger than your dick?" He was so humiliated. I thought he'd cry in public. You're like the first slice of bread in a loaf. Everyone has touched you, but nobody really wants you. You and Rapunzel have a lot in common. Only Rapunzel let down her hair while you let down everyone in your life. Probably something along the lines of, "How dumb can you be? I'll bet your family tree looks more like a telephone pole." Off of Comedy Central's roast battle, the two people going against each other were an interesting pair. One is a middle-aged white guy, and the only things you know about him are that his wife recently had a miscarriage, and he was writing a show that got cancelled by HBO. The other is an Asian man mid-transition to being a woman, and dressed as a woman. The Asian guy/girl goes first and says, "Your wife had a miscarriage, and HBO cancelled the show you were writing. I guess neither of them could use your material." The white guy's rebuttal was brilliant. He goes, "That's right. My wife had a miscarriage. So kinda like your dad. I'll never know if my child was a boy or a girl." I still laugh sometimes, thinking about that back and forth. Everyone who has ever left you was right. I love the line Lord Farquaad says to Shrek, "It's rude enough being alive when no one wants you." The one from the verbal sledging between a batsman and bowler in a cricket test match. The bowler was having trouble bowling the batsman, who was somewhat chubby, out. The best taunt the bowler could come up was, "Why are you so fat?" The batsman quipped back, "Because every time I have sex with your wife she gives me a biscuit." Much mirth ensued at the bowler's expense. Was working as head bouncer at a bar. One of the guys on my staff also worked as a mortician during the day. Friendly guy. Little odd. Never really saw him say much to anyone. Long story short, a patron was being overly friendly with a waitress as she was leaving. The bouncer looked at me and asked if he could handle this one. I said sure. Walks over and gets between the waitress and customer. Customers threatens to kill him. His reply, "No, that won't work. I'll kill you. Box you up and make you look all pretty for your family." Had a new respect/fear of the kid. This kid proudly declaring he teaches martial arts and someone replying they'd rather take their lessons from someone who hasn't had half their teeth knocked out. Read on an earlier AskReddit thread. I can only explain it to you, but can't understand it for you. Posted here about a pregnant lady complaining to a guy who was sitting that a gentleman would give a pregnant lady his seat. His reply was supposedly, "You should have ducked a guy with a car." Excuse me, sir. I think I speak for everyone here when I say that we would enjoy silence more than sound of your voice. I refuse to play a game of wits with an unarmed man. Follow-ups. Don't invite me to the crash landing if you didn't invite me to the takeoff. A lack of planning on your part doesn't constitute an emergency on mine. Got into a nurse anesthesia doctoral program. One of my doctors told me, "So you've been promoted to the level of your incompetence." He was joking, but still. Hard burn. Group of 6 women sitting around a table. Woman A asks Woman B about some modeling thing she's supposed to be doing. Woman C chimes in, "Yeah, whatcha modeling for animal crackers? First time in a long time a customer's table has made me legit lose it while walking by in a very long time." When I was in boot camp, one of our kill hats was smoking that one guy from out platoon and said out of all of the sperm, "I can't believe you were the fastest." You'll spend the rest of your life wondering why a girl will never touch you the same way your uncle did. I was sitting out on break with the boys and this younger smart-ass guy that worked under me lit up a cigarette in the middle of chewing tobacco. I asked, "You dip and smoke at the same time?" He said Shia as a friend of mine was walking by, who chimed in, "Why don't you dip down and smoke this pole?" All 10 or so of us lost it. At prom, a guy I know was walking towards us when a girl stopped him and said, "I'm sorry I was staring at you, but you're just the ugliest person I've ever seen." He said, "I'm sorry, I bet you couldn't see me properly because you were looking at me like I was the chromosome you lost." She called her boyfriend to fight him. He won. It was amazing. I can't go buy a pack of smokes without running into 9 guys you've ducked. Boondock Saints. In a Sopranos episode, Junior refers to someone as a motherless duck. That's always been a favorite. You're a blithering hedgepig. Heard it right here on Reddit. Came from u/1_y_chromosome. I have 2 from Dan Harmon. You are a worthless but necessary byproduct of an evolutionary strategy summarizable as no wrong answers. And your pistons are generic fears. I had a 5-year-old call me a pierogi. I am 28. With years of internet experience. And I think that takes the cake. There's no good comeback. And the more I thought about what I meant, the more I fell into ruin. Keep that up and the world becomes a better place when you die. It's for people that throw trash on the ground. Especially if there's a trash can within like 30 feet. How dare you say that to my face? Well, I'd say it behind your back, but my car's only got half a tank of gas. One of my favorites from Al Bundy. This is the best ID ever heard up to that point. In junior high, directed at a kid who was a bit chubby. "Hey name. You're so fat. If you were an inch taller, you'd be round. You're about as dumb as you are pretty." Leaves some ambiguity to the insult and makes them think about how to take it. Are your parents related? Not judging, just trying to make sense of how someone could be so ducking stupid. My boss in the Navy told me when I was being quiet after being yelled at, "I bet your mom takes it lying down too." I've never been so mad. Sold our cafe recently. Had a previous customer/mate drop by. Asked how's the shop going. The place is like ducking Mars. There's no atmosphere. Was a great description. And also made us feel quite accomplished as a side note. I've been partial to the smooth-brained infant the past few weeks. Especially in response to people who can't accept facts at face value. You do realize that everyone is just putting up with you, right? Saw that on here last time somebody asked this question. I do desire we may be better strangers. Shakespeare definitely my favorite way to tell someone to duck off in my inner monologue. Tried to use it once. She didn't understand and I just kept thinking I sounded like a tool afterwards. I'll keep it just for me from now on, unfortunately. My friend made a snarky comment to me and the conversation followed like this. Me. How about I get a spoon and you can eat my $. Friend. I wouldn't want to start a career. Drug addicted Taint Biscuit heard some dude in 7-Eleven's call his friend that after he asked for something but had no money. I think it was alcohol or something like that. In response to the question, "Why are you so fat?" "Every time I duck your sister, she gives me a biscuit." Went and saw Bo Diddley and he did this thing where he would shout out insults between guitar jams. They were akin to mama jokes. Okay. They were yo mama jokes. My favorite one was, "I heard about yo mama's new job. Standing out in front of the DRS office making people sick. How? From the moment I picked up your book until I put it down, I was convulsed with laughter. Someday I intend reading it. Groucho Marx. You're just about as useless as JPEGs to Helen Keller, Weird Al. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. When I was in prison, this guy was talking about how great he was at picking up women and how stupid women are. He went on to say hell, half of them can't even pump gas, I would have to show them how. A guy didn't miss a beat that said yeah because they were ducking 13. I had never laughed so hard. The guy telling the story was a child molester. It was ducking funny.